I'm just thrilled to have the opportunity to really talk about the changing landscape in intercollegiate athletics. And I could tell you that, boy, the pressure's mounting, as President Hennessy said. It is really impressive to see just the issues that are prevailing. I'm on the back of the screen here behind me, you'll see some of the things that are coming up. One, the question of should student athletes be paid, as somebody asked the question, where's Stanford View in the world? Have you seen the Stanford Magazine article last fall? And raise your hand if you saw the magazine where President Hennessy took a stand saying, look, we're not going down this path, this is educational mission. It was interesting the feedback that I got going around a number of places around the country and having the opportunity to speak, and they said, just Bernard, you should know, tell President Hennessy, we are behind him. We're behind him. We're not with him, but we're behind him. But I do think about the costs, the expenses, the billions of dollars in intercollegiate athletics, the rise in coaches' salaries, the question as to whether, especially right here in Northwestern, should student athletes unionize? Should they be part of a bargaining unit? And obviously, when we think about where we are in the world, we say no. We're going to stay consistent. Despite all the things that are going around us, we're going to stay true to our mission. And there's three things, I'll put it in three buckets today, that I think really exemplifies the Stanford experience. One, scholar athleticism. I'll get into that a little bit later here. Two, we're going to do it with distinction. And three, we're going to be consistent in our approach. Let me start out with scholar athleticism. This is some of our football student athletes at graduation doing their wacky walk. We are proud of the 100% graduation rate, no question. But I'm proud also of who these people represent. I'll never forget the Rose Bowl experience, and many of you were there in Pasadena. We took the team to what they call Lowry's Beef Bowl. And it was an opportunity for us to really engage with the Rose Bowl committee and their friends and sponsors. And at this dinner, the Rose Bowl court was present. And as they were coming in, our gentlemen, the Rose Bowl court sat at the players' stables. And as they got introduced and they were announced, they would come in, our players would get up, and they would sit at our table. And somebody from the Rose Bowl committee said, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've never seen men get up and acknowledge the Rose Bowl court. Did Coach Shaw have something to do with this? And I said, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I've been around practice. And so after the event, I said, Coach, did you talk to the team about the proper etiquette? And he says, of course not. They're Stanford men. And that's what we're talking about, making sure that our student athletes do what they're responsible for. But where do we find them? Where do we find great students? It starts from recruiting. It starts from a global perspective. These dots that you see on the screen comprise the students who are wearing the uniform on the farm. And obviously I highlighted the Midwest. And there's a student in particular I want to highlight. His name is Chasen Randall. And he's from Rock Island, Illinois, a star of our basketball team. If you've watched our team throughout the course of the year, in every broadcast, you can count on it. They just talk about Chasen Randall and two other of his teammates who are seniors, who are not only playing basketball at the high level, but they're also getting their master's degree. In the sport of basketball, that's unheard of. But at Stanford, it's possible. Let me give you a quick minute to get to know Chasen.
My first idea was just to get here and work as hard as I could in the classroom and on the basketball court and, make sure that, I was working towards a degree.
I've been meeting and working with Chasen about his senior thesis. He has developed a project where he is looking at kind of issues of violence in the African American community and kind of the environments that young people grow up in that may expose them to violence and whether or not that affects their involvement in violence.
What I did this summer was, I went back home to a correctional facility for the youth. And I was just there to, kind of get a feel for where they wanted to be. And I was also giving them, advice and hope and just talking to them just to let them know that someone was thinking about them.
He just seems like someone who really enjoys basketball but isn't trying to take up a lot of space. It's not about him. He seems like he's a team player.
And we are celebrating our 100 years of Stanford basketball. When I think about our programs also, we talk about performing with distinction. really important for us that if we're going to be the model program, the beacon in college athletics, we have to do that with a remarkable talent and with remaining humble in our approach. And I put up this slide. This was in my 3 years being here on the farm. I will never forget this moment, watching our women's water polo team play in Boston. It was a heartbreaking defeat for us. 3 overtimes. As you can imagine, it was gut-wrenching. The kids left it in the pool, if you will. And there were tears, there were hugs. It was a tough way for our senior class to go out. And I'll never forget Coach Tanner, John Tanner on our program, pulled me aside on the pool deck and he said, Bernard, the strangest thing happened. Our junior class took the second place trophy in the locker room. They brought it out. And many times schools, just be honest with you, in the championship, if you didn't win it, you leave your trophy behind. It's not the right thing to do. But our junior class took their trophy and they said, Coach, you know what? We're going to take this back to Palo Alto. We're going to put this in our locker room and it will be a reminder for us that we will never, ever experience this moment again. Let me show you, fast forward a little bit, and I'll show you what happened.
There's going to be turbulence, we know that, right? There's going to be turbulence. Through it all, it's us against the world. We stand together, okay? We stand strong.
Tremendous opportunity for us to win a national championship against UCLA in the sport of water polo last year. And this is a picture of our women's water polo team accepting the Director's Cup, which measures how well you do across 20 sports, 10 men, 10 women's programs in the postseason. Now I'm proud to say when we think about consistency, Stanford has won this trophy for 20 straight years. How about that, huh? We're so proud of that fact. It's pretty remarkable. And we're standing pretty right now to win the 21st one as the year unfolds. But somebody reminded me yesterday, said, Bernard, we have that 20 straight year award. That's a great achievement. But don't we have this thing called a national championship that we've won for 38 straight years? And have we, by the way, won the championship yet this year? The answer is no. But you know what? We've got the winter sports to come under play here. We've got the spring sports. And yes, at some point we're going to make it. And yes, I'm a little bit nervous as the AD because I don't want to be that person to break the streak. But at the same token, this resiliency that our student athletes showed, this resiliency that our women's water polo team showed is pretty remarkable. And many times when we talk about the 20 Directors' Cups, people say, well, you just won it in Olympic sports. Well, that's just not true now. That's not true. Let me give you another example. This chart appeared in the Wall Street Journal. And this measures how well our football programs across the country in Division I have done. And as you can see from this chart, basically it's not only looking at whether you're a weakling program or a powerhouse program, it's looking at your brand, whether you're admirable in your approach, whether you're graduating student athletes, whether you're getting in trouble. And I don't want to point out, that's not my nature, I won't point out programs, but certainly if you're a weakling, you don't want to end up in this area, right? No. And you certainly don't want to be just a powerhouse, right? You want to be in the pinnacle position where you're combining both the academics and the athletics at the highest degree. And that's where Stanford stands. And where does it start? Where does it begin? It starts with the top, right? I'll never forget the afternoon when somebody said, oh my gosh, there's a guy on the main quad that has these funky glasses. He's got a box, and he thinks that he runs the place. Come to find out, he did run the place. And what's neat about this, why I wanted to put it in, people on our shop were saying, do you put it in, do you not? I said, I hope he's out of the room when I do it. But it's about having fun. It is fun and games. And that's really important for us to keep as a reminder. I think about this, and from a professional development standpoint, I'm talking about my own, I need to move to the next story. And I finish with this. It is that time of year. This, for me, is like the holiday season. It is March Madness. And we have 2 games today, one on the women's side, one on the men's side. The women are pretty solid. They're playing in the Pac-12 championship semifinals against Arizona State. The men have some work to do, and we have an opportunity in Tucson to win a big key game. They're on that proverbial bubble. But I will tell you this, I'm about to leave here and head to Indianapolis because I'm part of a 10-member selection committee that is actually going to select the teams and seed the teams and put them in the bracket. And I'm excited about that opportunity. Really am. Thank you. At the same token, I will tell you this, regardless of whether we appear in that bracket or not, you can be proud of the young men and women who are going to wear that Cardinal uniform. At the end of March Madness, they play a theme called One Shining Moment. And when I think about Stanford athletics, I think not only of one shining moment, but I think about the many moments of excitement that is to come. Thank you very much. Go Cardinal.